Yeah, I'm going to say that at this point, Gabriel has to excuse himself because he has to, like, say hi to several other people.
Oh.
So he's currently not here, but Jorfrick and the rest of everybody else is here.
He was the one that took the lead last year.
I suppose it comes with his age.
If so, I would have been taken so far. I would take lots of beats. Yeah, but that comes along with being clanless, I assume.
Yes.
Have you thought about, I don't know. Have you thought about joining a clan, Mason?
I don't like to put down in one place, as you know. I like to be free or move from place to place, so being part of a clan is not really my thing.
Fair enough, Jorfrick says as he takes another swig of his mug.
Well, it's not all clans are the same, you know. Like, many clans are quite well travelled or quite well spread out.
I know Gabriel, despite being a clan leader, he travels a lot. That's how he found me in France.
Oh,
Yeah,
must
but
have
you also have to let us know where you are at all the time. Yeah, I'd rather not bother with all of that.
I suppose I don't really know yet. I'm still new to this whole thing, I guess.
oh, are you turned?
Yes.
Mm-mm.
Oh.
Hi, Maria.
Is something wrong, Norio? Jorfrick asks his grandson.
No, I was answering her question.
Oh, yes. Sorry, Norio thought that you were speaking to him.
Well, it's good to know either way.
Born and raised.
Me too.
Oh, Norio, looks like you have something in common with Miss Muriel.
He smiles and goes back to eating.
I admit I wasn't expecting to find so many young people here.
Well, Jorfrick says as he puffs up his chest. Jorfrick, by the way, who is clearly the oldest looking one here. Well, you know, us spring chickens here, you know, we have to make ourselves have a fine appearance when we're socializing out in public.
But
Yeah.
Grandpa, you're older than Rome.
Let's get you some more biscuits, boy, he says.
To us, these three are all youngins, all of them.
I'm sorry, I'm still not very used to this.
Well, if it puts your mind at ease, most young vampires tend to age unless they were turned young. If that's what.
But one thing you will learn, Jorfrick says, is that age really is just a number at the end of the day.
Yes,
Makes sense.
a large number in some cases.
Have you gone to school or going to school?
Mm-hmm. Second year.
Oh. It's good.
He
Are you
attends
doing well?
Mahotokoro, which I'm sure Celeste at least would know that that's really unusual.
Oh. Are you doing well in your studies, monsieur?
Mm-hmm. Very. I have
Very
green
good.
rooms.
Oh, that's very impressive. Everyone must be so proud of you.
Mm-hmm.
How about yourself, Celeste? Did you attend school?
Yes, I graduated from Babatons before.
Oh, of course, yes. I've heard that's a very lovely place.
It's beautiful.
Norio nudges his grandfather. Where's that?
It's over in France, Norio. You know, back in my younger years, I tried to apply for Beauxbatons. For some reason, they didn't accept me.
They have a unique curriculum, it seems.
Yeah, out of character for the viewers who don't know, Beauxbatons is an all-girls school.
It's actually not.
Oh, it's not an all-girls school?
Nope, it has boys and girls. That's why
What?
my original character, Jamond, was originally going to go to Babat.
What?
Yeah.
Ah.
They made it an all-girls school in the movie. In the book, there are male students who come along with the girls.
Well then that
Just like
completely
Durmstrang's not an all-boys school.
that completely destroys. Oh yeah, you know what? I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna have Jorfric not know that, and so he's gonna actually say in character, it's a joke because Bobatons is an all-girls school.
Actually, it's not.
Oh.
Wait,
There are
wait, what?
there are
It's
plenty
not.
of boys who attend that school.
Man, I'm
What?
pulling my leg.
Are you telling me this whole time I could have? They actually rejected me because I. Well,
I don't know why they rejected you, monsieur.
even at my age, you learn something every day.
Maybe you just didn't qualify.
Gabriel said the exact same thing earlier.
Yes, well, it hurt less when I thought I didn't qualify because I wasn't a girl. But now that I know that there were actually boys at that school too.
Yes. Actually, amazingly progressive for some schools, considering the headmistress.
So wait. How about Durmstrang? Are there girls in Durmstrang?
I believe so.
Yeah,
Well.
there are. My sister teaches a few of them.
My entire childhood was a lie. My entire childhood was a lie. Well, Norio, just be glad that you've got yourself into a fine school, a fine co-ed school, and are proud of it.
Well, how else would I go to school with Rachel?
That's true. That's true.
It's probably good that he was even able to get in from. I know it can be difficult.
I'm gonna say it's at this point that Gabriel is going to start getting set up to begin the meeting, and Norio, I'm gonna say Jorfric will say the meeting's about to start. Norio, do you want to just play in the corner, or do you want to sit and actually watch?
Can I decide later?
Sure, he says. I just don't want you to get bored.
Nothing else. I can just fall asleep on you.
That sounds like a plan, he says.
Oh no, he's gonna be the leader of this meeting again this year.
And apparently he does a good job if he's got to do it again.
It's
Well-
all way much less, yeah.
Oh, well, no, if you get bored, I have some string. You can play Cat's Cradle with it. That always helps me keep busy during reading.
Mario start actually doing some of the different ones.
Yeah. So that's doing a
He's-
few.
Totally entranced by it.
Here, I have a spare set. Yeah.
Takes it and he tries to do it, but a lot of it just ends up knots.
Okay.
He undoes the knots and then he tries again, and then it's somehow in a worse knot.
Okay. I'll give you a tutorial.
Cool. So while you're entertaining the little 8-year-old kid, as Gabriel's setting up to begin the meeting, one more individual has entered into the area. One that I don't think anyone has seen attend this moot before. It is a man that's probably in his late 20s, early to mid 30s, I would say. Relatively skinny in stature, and he has a turban around his head. I would like to ask for everybody to please roll a knowledge history, if they have one. If you don't know what your knowledge history roll is, roll a 2d6 and a 1d4. If you don't have a knowledge history, just roll a 2d6 plus a 1d4 and tell me what your value is.
Okay.
Would this count as wizarding history?
This can count as wizarding history. Norio, you probably will take a penalty to this, so I would say roll a 2d6 and roll a 1d4 and subtract the 1d4 from your total.
I got
Even if he's specialized in vampire history.
This is not a vampire.
Oh.
So everyone who has a 10 or a higher, you will recognize this person as Professor Quirrell. Professor Quirrell is a Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher over at Hogwarts. To your knowledge, he's not a vampire. To your knowledge. It's not very typical that non-vampires come to this unless they were specifically invited by the guest speaker. And that actually explains things a little bit when you see Professor Quirrell as he's entering, walk right to Gabriel, and Gabriel gives them a handshake, and they start chatting for a little.
Would Gabriel have ever mentioned anything about this to me?
Yeah, he probably would have mentioned to you that there is somebody who had requested as a guest speaker to speak to the vampires, and he promised this person, because they are old friends back in the day, that he would give him his 5-10 minutes to speak whatever it is he wants to say, and then continue on with the rest of their issues. But he didn't really specify what he was going to talk about, because I don't think he himself knows fully what this person is going to talk about, and he probably would have mentioned to you that it is indeed Professor, the Defense Against the Dark Arts professor from Hogwarts.
That must be the Hogwarts teacher.
A Hogwarts teacher, you say?
Yes. Apparently they were old friends. He wanted to say something to the clans.
Now, why would he invite such a person here?
Especially someone that you know is a Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher. Yes.
Exactly.
Gabriel has always been trying to find ways to coexist with humans. Maybe it has something to do with that. You know, if you've known him long, even I could tell he's an idealist.
If Norio is still with Muriel, he would visibly stop and stare for a few seconds, and then go back to ignoring it, doing the cradles.
Oh god. With this timeline, Is there anything weird about Quirrell?
I mean,
I
don't think...
Other than the fact that he's a human in the area.
I don't think so, other than what I've already described to you.
Okay.
So, not that I'm aware of. Would be anything weird.
She's gonna be watching him, though, because she...
But those who are paying attention to the timeline, this is the August just before Harry Potter's first year. Harry Potter is going to start attending Hogwarts the next month, in September.
Out of character, gotta love the other company we're in right now.
The other company?
The other company.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think the viewers can kind of put two and two together of what's going on. So, at that point, Gabriel is going to get up and says, "All right, okay. Welcome, everyone, to tonight's moot. I appreciate all of you who have come from many, many parts of the globe to be here. It's very important for all of us to gather, share our thoughts and our feelings, because we, of course, need whatever alliances and support that we can have. And this forum is a way for us to be able to make some decisions that will hopefully not only benefit ourselves, but all clans across the globe. As you can see here, we do have a guest. This person is just going to be here at least at the beginning. Of course, everything that we speak here is supposed to be at a need-to-know basis. This guest, believe it or not, and please hear me out, he is a professor over at Hogwarts, and he is not out of character. What is the politically correct way of calling someone a vampire or not a vampire? Is there a politically correct way of referring to them? Like turned or not turned? Well, not
Mortal?
turned, because some people are born. What?
We could
He's mortal?
VTM and call them kind, and vampires kindred.
He's kind or kindred?
Kindred being vampire, kind being human. Or
Kind?
non-vampire.
Kind with a K-I-N-D?
Kind, K-I-N-E.
K-I-N-E, okay. I wasn't familiar with that word. All right, we can call them kind and kindred. He said that he wanted to speak to you at least for the next 5 or 10 minutes, and just wanted to give us some sort of information that he thought we would be interested in. We, of course, can ask him whatever questions that we want, and at the end of the day, we can make whatever decisions that we want. But he at least wanted to have a moment just to be able to speak to us. And when he's done, we will kindly have him leave so that we can move on to our own personal affairs. So I appreciate you taking the time. Professor Quirrell, if you could please. And Professor Quirrell will approach the podium. Now, the Professor Quirrell that you might know in the books and in the movies, he has this flighty, kind of cowardly persona. He does not have that here. He actually is a lot more authoritative. He's got a very hardened demeanor. So personality-wise is quite different from how he is in Hogwarts. And he goes over to the room and he places his hands on the podium and he says, I appreciate you all having me here as a guest. I don't want to intrude too much in my stay, so I'm going to make this very quick. All of you, as you know, at least most of you in this room, know what it's like to be an outcast. I know that many of the issues that you probably talk about here are to find ways of healing throughout the years and to find ways to be able to build upon this fine community that you have. I am informing you an offer that may help aid in the prosperity of the vampire clans and to help them to place themselves a little bit more on the map, if you say. I know historically many of you have known a little bit about the history in our world over the last few years. And there have been some very historic moments happening several years ago surrounding He Who Must Not Be Named. I'm going to say that half of the room looks very uncomfortable. The other...
The mention of it, Celeste looks angry.
Yeah, half of the room looks very uncomfortable. Half of it looks very, like, intrigued.
Same with the Mason. He looks also intrigued.
Yeah, they're like, oh, really? Tell me more. And if anyone's looking at Gabriel, he is, like... He, like, reacts slightly when he mentions He Who Must Not Be Named. And I think he's sort of looking at him like a, where is this going kind of direction, at least. So you kind of know that he wasn't really sure in the beginning, like, what he wants to say. But he seems to want to give Quirrell the 10 minutes that he was promised.
Norio stops and drops the cradle and starts paying attention.
Yeah. And as soon as Jorfric notices that you're paying attention to this, now that he's dropped the He Who Must Not Be Named bomb, Jorfric actually will take a hold of your hand and say, Norio, maybe you and I should head outside for a little bit.
Dad, Dad was hunting that one.
Yes, Nori, I know, but I don't think that you should be listening to this right now.
Okay.
So he will start to excuse himself as they start to, like, leave the room a little bit.
Riley waves bye to Muriel.
Bye.
Quirrell is not going to pay too much mind, and he says, I am informing of you as a courtesy that there is reasons to believe that He Who Must Not Be Named is returning. It is not a matter of if, it is more of a matter of when. And when he returns, there is an offer for aid to all clans to be able to reach their full potential and to not have to be afraid to hide themselves away from the rest of the world, to actually gain their independence again. especially because of all of the laws that the Ministry of Magic has been placing over the last several years, that has slowly been peeling away your rights as people, not just whether you're kind or kindred or any of that matter. Just know that he who must be named is willing to help and aid you during this time when he arrives. And when he does, hopes that you will be able to join him in what he is planning on doing in order to gain the equality that you rightfully need. It's that point, like, again, half of the congregation is really not comfortable with this. The other half are very, very engaged. And Muriel is raising up her hand, right?
Yeah, she's like...
Yes, over there, Coral says.
That's a lot. Also, historically, I believe he who must not be named isn't particularly fond of mudbloods or squibs. So I'm guessing this offer would not extend equally to everyone. And he killed a lot of people. Like, why are we talking about this?
And a lot of hunters have killed a lot of your people as well, undeservedly.
Yes. Hunters are just the same. Everybody are. They kill and they don't care about others. As long as their own kind is safe. That's all they care about.
None of you have to make a decision this evening, Quirrell says. I am just merely giving you the courtesy of informing you, just so that you are aware, because open communication is important, and we didn't want to have this be a surprise to your community. Let this be a show of faith in an extension of, hopefully, an established trust. This will definitely not be the last you will hear about this. I will ask to keep what I've said to you to yourselves in this room. Of course, I cannot force you to keep it a secret, but I'm sure many people that you could tell would think you were absolutely crazy for saying so. Many of you probably think I'm crazy saying everything I'm saying right now, and I don't blame you. Is Muriel about to say something?
Just like, I noticed you dodged around the mudblood and squib correction.
A lot.
Heard of that information.
Celeste is just staring at Gabriel right now, and she's probably digging grooves into her hand right now.
Yeah. Gabriel looks like he's his fist is very clenched, as if he's like, okay, when is the 10 minutes over? When is the 10 minutes over?
And she flinches every time Muriel says the word mudblood.
Okay.
Like, is that the right term or is it the rude term? I don't know.
That's the rude term. Mudblood is like slang.
What's the proper term then? That's not rude.
Muggleborn.
Muggleborn.
Okay.
Oh, I was also okay. She would say Muggleborn in that case. She wouldn't say the rude term.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
As a Victor, half-blood wizards were completely fine, or I don't remember if he was negative to them as well.
I think he was more indifferent to them.
I think it's more indifferent.
Because at least they had magical blood.
Yeah.
It's not ideal, but just no more in the future.
In that case, Nora doesn't know any Muggleborns to my knowledge, so
Yeah.
Well, I do have...
he wouldn't be fighting against his grandfather to be like, you don't harm my friends.
So, I do have a question about your proposal.
Yes.
Exactly who of us will be saved, though? Not all of us vampires are born with magic. Or even before we were turned. So what about those?
I'm trying to think out of character how he would respond to that. Because out of character, Voldemort did end up getting a lot of allies with the giants, and he got allies with the werewolves. And I'm trying to wonder, with giants it's weird because they're not human,
Yeah.
and with werewolves, like, just because you're a werewolf, it doesn't necessarily mean you were pure blood or half blood.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like it didn't necessarily. I feel like he didn't necessarily just recruit pure blood werewolves. I think.
Yeah, it's only for those who have non-magical in them in other ways, probably. Is what I'm assuming.
Right.
Like,
That's what I'm assuming too.
yeah, only muggles and muggle-borns is
Yeah,
what I'm thinking.
If you're born a vampire, then you're born with magic. But if you're turned, you don't get it unless you had it before.
True, but they are still magical creatures. Consider that.
Right.
now.
They still have abilities that could be very useful to him, and sometimes it might be the ends justify the means. At that point,
Yeah.
is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, and it's not like he would consider us the vampires equals. They're still non-human, non-mages, according to him.
Some
So
of us.
they would be tools. Even the magical
Right.
ones probably would have been like tainted blood or something like that. The way he looked at
Right.
even mage werewolves.
Right. So he would just see them as tools. Not that Quirrell's going to say that,
No,
but
Quirrell's laying on the schmoozing.
Quirrell's laying on the schmoozing, and Quirrell is going to say, regardless of your birthright, everyone in this room is gifted. And these types of gifts are the things that he who shall not be named aligns very well to his vision of how the wizarding world should be moving forward, not backward. And so I can assure you, for those of you who are loyal to him, he will return that loyalty in kind, and you will be rewarded.
And how exactly do he plan to enforce against those who are not loyal to him?
The most effective ways that he can and has enforced those who opposed him.
Which you mean is killing.
So what is that phrase? Sometimes to bake a cake, you have to crack a few eggs. That's just the way the world works.
That's a cruel way of referring to people's lives.
And yet it's the same thing the vampire hunters does.
Doesn't mean it's right.
The
It's
wizard
just
world
one-
itself does that. Everybody does.
Yeah.
You live in a world where that is all the thing people do.
This.
You either stop complaining or you do something about it.
You don't always have to do it by becoming what you hate.
Agreed.
No, but that way you don't have to complain because you do nothing against it.
There are ways to protest things without using violence. Yeah.
Violence
Some-
is not all. I'm not saying that he does always use violence. He doesn't say it always does, but sometimes you have to.
Professor Quirrell, finally, Gabriel says, 10 minutes is up. Thank you very much for your time. We will definitely take your words into consideration and discuss them. But for now, if we'd like to thank you, we'd like to move on to the rest of the agenda. And Professor Quirrell will nod, and there will be some like golf clapping for the people who are at least clapping to be polite. And Quirrell will make his way out of the room.
Does Norio and Joffrey? Yeah.
Norio and Jorfric will return back, and maybe he was able to get you like more biscuits and milk, just to appease you. All right, and he'll join you back, and says, apparently the room is quite divided by the words that Professor Quirrell has said. I'm going to try to be as neutral as possible, so if anyone has anything else to say, now that Professor Quirrell has left the room, please speak your piece. And everyone's here's opinion is valued. Please remember that this is meant to be a safe space. You are welcome to debate, but we at least should find a place to agree to disagree, because I do not think that this is an issue that we will be able to resolve tonight alone.
And when exactly you plan that we might be able to solve this, to agree?
Assuming what he says is true, and that's an if what he says is true, this is something that perhaps we can cross that bridge when that bridge actually materializes.
And what if What if it's too late? But
He did say that everyone is welcome to make their own decisions. Those who are going to go to him are going to go to him no matter what is decided.
He also said that those who aren't loyal to him are going to be treated as the same way he treats people who don't side with him.
that
In
is
the same
only
way
if you
he
go
treats
against
Malcolm,
him.
The way he treats anyone who doesn't want anything to do with it. He's a murderer, plain and simple. It doesn't matter what we decide.
It is only if you go against him. If you just stay neutral,
He
don't
murdered
stand in his
people.
way. then
There
it
are
doesn't
plenty
matter.
of victims who had nothing to do with him. Who are just
Casualties always
victims-
happens.
victims of their fun and games. That's cruelty, not war.
Some vampires do as well, and I'm sure that some in this very room have been known to do that in the past themselves.
Celeste is gonna get up and leave.
Okay.
She needs to cool down.
Jorfric will speak up and will say, my opinion, I think that guy was a load of quack. I think he has no idea what he's talking about. I think the words that he's saying is crazy. He who must be named, the Dark Lord, he's dead. He's not coming back. There's no need for us to get into a big panic about nothing.
And so are all in here dead. And yet we still walk here among us, so
Bad people.
Jorfric will give you a comforting rub on the shoulder. It's all right, Nario. He's not coming back. He's dead. He's just a very bad man, and the person who was just talking he's just crazy.
I wouldn't call it crazy. It's just he thinks about possibilities. Something that you close down on.
When the discussion starts to die down a little bit, Gabriel will continue. I do want to move on to the next item. We can table this discussion at least for the next moot, which will be a month from now, and we can talk about this more thoroughly. I think a lot of people are emotionally charged right now as can be, so I think this is something that we should at least take the next month to absorb and think about if this is an issue that you think needs to be brought up again. Yes,
Should
Muriel,
we,
I think.
Should we tell the greater vampire councils and any of the ministries about this?
I think letting the Vampire Council, at least at minimum, know that what this man has said should be something that we should do. Yes. In terms of the ministry, I'm not sure what the right call is.
I
either.
will suggest not to tell them. If we do, they will consider us right the way as suspicious and as threats. Since it was us he came to.
I might have to agree with Mason there, Jorfric said. If we were to go to the ministry and say, the Dark Lord is coming back, they might think that we have something to do with that.
Jorfric would know that Norio is definitely telling his father.
Yeah. I don't think Jorfric is going to say that out loud, though. I think even though he knows that, that's probably going to be a thing. Anything else? Gabriel says. I think we've all agreed that we'll at least consider telling the Vampire Council. All right. We'll make that as an action item. Second line of business. Recently, there has been a rise in the vampire hunters. Those who have particularly sought out to hunt down and destroy vampires indiscriminately, without question. One such vampire hunter that has become particularly notorious for this is one Miwa Mermont. In a very short amount of time, her casualty count has risen up towards the 30s. This is a warning to everyone here. If you see this woman, stay away from her at all costs. Avoid crossing paths with her as much as you possibly can.
Very sad, because he remembers his uncle who died to them within the last year or two.
This has become a growing problem over the last several months, and I'd like to open the forum of discussion on how we feel we should, what we should do to address this growing problem.
There is one effective way to deal with them, but I assume most of you would not agree with this, and should be considered as a last resort.
The floor is yours. Please speak your mind, Mason, Gabriel says.
Mason will stand up as to speak this. We could send them a message with one of their own kind's head, if you know what I mean.
Delphina, she says, I don't like that idea, to be honest. I will agree with you, though, that it is certainly effective to make a statement. I just wonder about the long-term effects.
Well, if they keep letting them do it as they do now, they will just keep coming back after us. This will at least give us some time to make a better plan, a better course of action.
The ministry has also historically been very lax or overly conservative, maybe is the proper way of saying it, when it comes to putting those of our kind on trial. Many of us, I think, have been wrongfully punished or been accused of things, and that has not been helping the situation either.
Well, we could set another example by doing the exact same thing to them. Show them just how terrible and unfair it is.
Or give them more fuel for it.
Like they give us more fuel. You see, fight fire with fire. That's what is the most direct way to do this.
Another fire just leaves more things burned.
That is an option. Just as a sign of, for those of you who are comfortable, just as a show of hands, I'm just curious how many of you feel the same way as Mason here. And roughly a third of the room raises their hand. Many of them are uncomfortable. They're like raising their hand uncomfortable. And then I would say a few people are confidently raising their hand. But there's a few who are like, if I was being honest, I kind of feel the same way if I was being really honest. So I don't know if any of the other PCs react. Okay. The conversation will continue on. I'm sure there's been more talk, but I at least wanted to get a snapshot of this scene. We're gonna say that the rest of the meeting occurs, and you talk a lot about other issues. I don't know if any specific decisions have been made besides the decision to inform the Vampire Council about Professor Quirrell and what he's claiming. So that is an action item. But other than that, a lot of it is just people talking about. And there are people that I say I'm going to be against what Mason is saying and will disagree with what he's saying. But for the most part, I think that the conversation might get a little bit heated. There might be a few debates, but at the end of the day, a lot of the group is agreeing to disagree for now, and they'll talk about it more thoroughly next time. So there's about 30 minutes to an hour for people to continue mingling and socializing. I'm assuming Celeste returns back at some point, and it is at this point that if you guys want to talk about what just happened, you may.
Norio is very sullen. If Muriel came back with the cradle or whatnot, then he'd kind of half-heartedly do it, but 90% of his enthusiasm for everything for the day is gone.
Okay.
Muriel's probably not going to approach. She'll go to approach, but then look at him and go, and just get lost in her own head for a bit. She might approach Celeste if she sees her alone, but for the minute.
Yeah, so Celeste, I think Gabriel's going to try to return back to the table. So are you going to try to pull away Gabriel to talk to him privately, or would this be something you can talk to him in front of other people?
It would probably be more of a private conversation, but it could be like something done like as they're leaving the moot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll say that maybe Celeste arrives and Muriel notices Celeste, at least relatively by herself, if Muriel wants to talk to Celeste.
Okay. Hi, Celeste, right?
Yes. Oh, Muriel, right?
Yes. I noticed that we kind of agreed on a few things. Are you okay?
Not really. Let's just say it's because of that thing that I became a vampire.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know.
It's just bad memories. I'd rather not go into details.
I'm sorry. I'll go.
It's alright, it's alright. I have nothing else to do until Gabriel's finished, so... It's shocking though that one so young would have such strong feelings. Did you lose someone to him too?
No, I'm quite far away from all that. But I'm a squib, so...
I was a muggle born.
So, yeah, I don't really exactly approve of actions taken, because if I wasn't a vampire, I would probably end up on the chopping block.
Probably.
Such people.
Let's hope that that Quill was just insane and completely wrong.
Yeah.
Besides, didn't that Harry Potter kid survive?
Oh, yeah. That was weird.
Was weird. I mean, yeah. I don't know much about it. All I know is, the general boy who lived propaganda that was spread around, but...
It was a big story back in the day.
Yes. I probably got a bit more of it being right next to England, but... You know how it is.
Yeah. Although, you're kind of right about... No one would believe us if we told them.
I'm sure some people would, but I don't know if there's anyone who would want to talk to us about it.
Yeah.
But, either way, I don't think it's right to even consider joining him. Considering a lot of us were once muggles.
Yes. My father was a muggle, so... Not a muggle, but he was a human. But
In the end, we're all people, and anyone who takes that away from us should not be respected.
Meanwhile, Delphina is going to be wiping down the tables as they're going to start to close up a little bit. So I'm going to say that Mason, Jofric, and Norio are there. And as Delphina is wiping down the table, she turns to Mason and says, "I appreciate you speaking up, Mason. I know that your opinions are very controversial, but I at least admire your honesty."
When you live as long as I have in this undead life, you can't help but speak your mind.
She then turns towards Norio, and her demeanor softens significantly, and she says, "So Norio, you should probably be going to bed soon."
We're gonna be leaving soon.
She notices that you're looking a little bit sullen, and so in an attempt to try to cheer you up a little bit, she says, "So Norio, another thing that I heard, well, because I'm a bartender, because of course I hear rumors all the time, I heard that Harry Potter might be starting school this year. Have any of your classmates been talking about that at all?"
I think Imogen mentioned it once. She's from, Britain? London somewhere? But I don't talk about it much.
Well, he is the boy who lived. It must be exciting, though, that he's starting school just like you did last year.
It's good. School is... It's good. You learn a lot.
Well, you keep learning. You're a very bright boy, and honestly, I can't wait to see what you're going to grow up as in a few years.
Potion maker.
Potion maker? That's a very great profession. I make my own mixings of potions myself, she says. Well, I guess you don't necessarily need to call them potions. Maybe they're more like concoctions or mixers or mixed drinks, but they're related.
He's definitely... She's definitely starting to speak his language. So he's picking up a little bit more enthusiasm, but this is something he would normally be very excited to talk about. Now it's just middling.
Norio, if you could invent any potion, anything that could do anything you want, what kind of potion would you make?
I would say a flying potion. Just fly without a broom.
Wow, without a broom.
Wait, we could do that. No mind. We can just do that.
Well, but others can't. And I think others might be able to benefit from that.
That's true. I guess I hadn't thought about that.
I guess we might have to get more law enforcers up there to make sure that things don't get we don't get too much traffic with everyone flying around thanks to your potions.
My dad could do it.
She'll mess with your hair a little bit. All right, son, she says. I think it's way past your bedtime and I need to close up, so it's good to see you again, Jorfric. You as well, Delphina, and he'll give her a hug. And it's at this point that I think Gabriel and will find Celeste, and he'll say, all right, Celeste, there's a lot of people that's been wanting to talk to me. Shall we?
Yes. You can go.
As you're going out, he'll notice that you seem very quiet, and he'll say, something clearly is on your mind, huh?
You remember how you found me?
Yes. I am very sorry again that I didn't know exactly what he was going to talk about, but I did promise him his 10 minutes, and I did promise him we would at least listen. So I hope you understand that
I do.
it was an agreement, and I really wanted to honor my agreement.
I know. You're a good man. How many of them would go to him?
If I was being completely honest, there are a lot of people you need to understand in that room that have lived through a lot and have seen through a lot and have been through a lot. And because of their experiences, I would say at least a good third, if not more, of that room, if I was being completely honest.
I hope it's not true.
I hope it's not true as well. Quirrell and I, we were friends back in the day, and he's a little different now. I'm not really sure if I can put my finger on it, but I don't know if he's simply going mad, but if he is, I hope he gets better soon and gets the help that he needs.
She's gonna kind of lean against him.
He'll lean in as well. For right now, I think that this is something that we should just sleep on, and hopefully tomorrow is another day.
That sounds good.
All right.
She just says thank you.
You're most welcome. And we'll end the flashback. So, yay, that was the first half. Okay.